After church, the entire Armenian half of the family is gathered together, as always, at my grandparents' home. And my mother has dressed me up in a pair of red velvet knickers, no cuffs, and a white turtleneck shirt, because she is having me sing for everyone the Herman's Hermits pop classic, I'm Henry VIII I Am. Yep. A fat kid in red velvet knickers singing Herman's Hermits with a bad British accent. I asked him, how is it that none of my cousins ever beat me up? Now here is why this story is relevant. I am singing this song in a house that can only be called exotic by the standards of a little boy in the late 1960s or early 1970s. Plush oriental carpets, my grandmother's beautiful, intricate, ornate Armenian lacework everywhere, floor-to-ceiling bookcases filled with books in a language, an alphabet I couldn't begin to decipher. My mother, with great affection and love, christened the house the Ottoman Annex of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And if this house was exotic by the standards of a little boy in the late 1960s or 1970s, it was certainly exotic when my father was growing up in that house in the 1930s. Behind the brick walls of that house, my favorite house of any house I or anyone in my extended family ever lived in when I was growing up, everyone spoke Armenian. When my father started kindergarten in 1934 at the age of 5, couldn't speak a word of English. Didn't know how to ask where the boys' room was. And so, like many daughters and sons of immigrants, my father made a decision. He was going to become as American as he possibly could. As a matter of fact, in the 1950s, he became that most iconic of mid-20th century American professionals in ad man. He became a madman. Think of Don Draper. That is how extensive my father's reinvention was. In 1988, he retired to South Florida. In 2009, his health began to deteriorate. And if there was a blessing to be found among the myriad ailments that dogged my father the last few years of his life, it was this. He and I spent more time together than we had at any point in my life since I'd been a boy. Because I would fly down from Vermont, where I live, every month and spend a week with him, checking in on his doctor, seeing how he was doing. When he would feel up to it, we would hit a bucket of golf balls. And among the ways we would pass the time would be to look at the old family photographs, including this photograph, the oldest photograph my family owns. Constantinople, last decade of the 19th century, a family photo of the Bohjalians, the little boy on his father's lap. That's my grandfather, Levon Nazareth Bohjalian. And we looked at what is my favorite photograph I own of my father. It is a formal portrait taken just outside of New York City, 1934. That little boy is my father, and I love it. Short pants, white shirt, a necktie that falls 2 inches above his navel. In those wide years, I can see the wonderful man who raised me. Standing behind him is my grandmother, Heidi Bohjalian, elegant gray-black dress, white collars, a corsage the size of a softball. And in my beautiful grandmother, I can see wisps of my beautiful 19-year-old daughter, Grace. Sitting beside them, my grandfather. He's wearing a suit. In my memories, my grandfather is always wearing a suit. Not too long ago, I asked my aunt, his daughter, Rosemary, I said, "Hey, Rosemary, in my memories, Grandpa's always wearing a suit. When you were a little girl, was he always wearing a suit?" And she laughed and said, "No, Chris, of course not. I remember one time when he was cleaning the oil burner, he took off his jacket." Leo and Haigu Bohjalian were survivors of the Armenian genocide. Like many genocide survivors, they took most of their stories to their graves. We know bits and pieces. We know that my grandmother, her maiden name was Bohjalian, and we know that her father provided cavalry horses to the Turkish army and had for years. In 1915, rather than acquire the horses, as the army had for years, they simply shot him to death, confiscated the herd, and then, for good measure, confiscated the Bohjalian townhouse and all of the property within in Constantinople. We know that my grandfather had 3 brothers, and in 1915, all 4 brothers had made it to Cairo, Egypt. They were there in Egypt in 1915. And yet, somehow, between 1915 and the mid-1920s, when my grandparents wed in Paris, all 3 brothers were lost to the mists of history. My grandfather never spoke of them. And to this day, no one in my family knows what happened to them. The Sandcastle Girls is not the first time that I tried to write of the Armenian genocide. I tried once before, in 1993. Wrote the entire novel, 392 manuscript pages. And I remember reading through it when I was done, that first draft, and realizing the book was a disaster. It was an utter train wreck. Moreover, about this time, Carol Edgaria published her remarkable novel of the genocide, Rise the Euphrates. And I remember thinking to myself, why in the name of heaven does anyone need my take on this story when we have the work of Carol Edgaria, Peter Bohjalian, and of course, Franz Werfel's magisterial epic of the genocide, The 40 Days of Musaddam. So I boxed up all 392 manuscript pages, sent them to my alma mater where my papers are archived, and to this day you can go to the Robert Frost Library, go 3 stories below ground. You can read that manuscript if you're a scholar or a masochist, but I would discourage you. It's really not a very good book. So why 17 years later, in 2010, did I try again? There are a number of reasons. First of all, because the story is so profoundly important. There's a direct link between the Armenian genocide, the Holocaust, the Cambodian killing fields, the Bosnians, the Rwandans, Darfur. It's a very long list. Secondly, because while today, outside of the Armenian diaspora community, most North Americans know next to nothing of the Armenian genocide, it really is, as my narrator, Laura Petrosian, calls it in the Sandcastle Girls, the slaughter you know next to nothing about. And yet, once upon a time, all North American eyes were turned upon the fraying eastern edges of the Ottoman Empire and looking on in horror. There were best-selling books in North America about the Armenian genocide. Books such as Bleeding Armenia. Books such as Armenian Massacres and Turkish Tyranny. Books such as Ravished Armenia, a memoir, Aurora's story. Many of you have probably heard of Ravished Armenia. This book was not merely a best-selling memoir, it became a blockbuster movie, a blockbuster silent film in 1919. 9 reels long. 1 reel exists today. You can see that reel at the Holocaust Museum in Washington, at the Genocide Museum in Yerevan, and you can see parts of it on YouTube. Among the footage that you can find on YouTube, Hollywood's recreation of the moment in this memoir when Aurora watched some of the women on the caravan in the desert stripped naked, raped, and nailed to wooden crosses, where they were crucified under the searing Syrian sun. During the First World War, the New York Times alone ran 154 articles about the Armenian genocide, culminating with this article, July 13, 1919, off the front page. It is the conviction for crimes against humanity, in absentia, of the architects of the genocide, Talat, Jamal, and Enver Pasha. Once upon a time, everyone knew. Yet, even in the 1920s, the news cycles moved on. The fledgling nation-state of Armenia was swallowed by the Soviet Union. There was the Great Depression. There was the rise of Nazi Germany. And, of course, there was the rise of the Ataturk government in Turkey and the Stalin-esque system-like denial, fabrication, and rewriting of history. Literally, sweeping under the rug the death of 1.5 million citizens by their own government. And so, a mere 20 years after this front page story in the New York Times, this part of our story was so insufficiently known that on August 22nd, 1939, before unleashing his panzers on Poland, Adolf Hitler wrote to his officers, "Be merciless, be merciless. After all, who today remembers the annihilation of the Armenians?" As a result, today, for much of the world, our story only exists in places like Deir Zor, where so many people in this room know firsthand. You can run your fingers through the sands and come away with fragments of skull and bone. Our ancestors. There's a third reason why I decided in 2010 to embark upon this novel. And he's a great friend of mine who I know some of you know, Hachig Muradi. Hachig is the editor of the Armenian Weekly and a friend, good friend. He knew that I had tried and failed to write about the Armenian genocide in 1993, and he knew in 2010 that my father's health was failing. So on February 2nd, over a cup of coffee, he looked across the small Starbucks table and said to me, "When are you going to try again?" Not if, when. And if you know Hachig, you know he's nothing if not persuasive. And so I had my marching orders, and I tried again. But I knew if I was going to succeed this time, I needed a more personal way in. And so this time, I began by creating a female version of me, an Armenian-American novelist at midlife, who knows far too little of her own history. As a matter of fact, if you look at the very first page of the Sandcastle Girls, Laura Petrosian, my narrator, is watching her twin brother, who's 5, who is a fat kid in red velvet knickers and a white turtleneck shirt, singing, much to her horror, the Herman's pop classic, "I'm Henry VIII, I Am." The book moves back and forth in time. I will never know precisely what my grandparents experienced in 1915. But I knew who my remarkable, wonderful grandparents were in the 1960s and 1970s. So, in the present, Laura Petrosian is drawn to her grandparents' story in 1915 in Aleppo. Poor, tragic Aleppo, once again, cataclysmically in the news. She's drawn there by a photograph of a woman, and she's not sure who this woman is, but when she sees the photograph from the genocide in the Armenian Library and Museum of America in Watertown, she knows from the caption that they might be related. And who are her grandparents? Well, her grandmother, as Elizabeth Endicott, Mount Holyoke class of 1915, 22 years old, who joins the Boston-based Friends of Armenia and journeys on a relief mission to Aleppo, discovering there an innermost string of Dante's Inferno worse than anything she could ever have imagined. And there she meets an Armenian widower, an engineer, Armen Petrosian, who's already lost his beloved wife Karin, an infant daughter, to the genocide. So it is in some ways a detective story, but it is also a love story. Because I've always loved big, sweeping love stories in the midst of horror. Books such as Corelli's Mandolin, Atonement, The English Patient. And I understood going into this book that if I wanted this book to be an educational tool for people not part of the Armenian diaspora community, there had to be a way in to introduce people in Joplin, Missouri, and Jacksonville, Florida, to our story. And that's one of the reasons why the book is, in part, a love story. If I had any doubts that this was the right structure this time for the book, they were dispelled when I went for the first time to the Middle East. I was planning to go to Syria, to go to Deir Zor. But because of the civil war there, I began instead in Beirut. And I was traveling with Hachik. Now, my wife is also friends with Hachik, and before we left, she was looking on Facebook at Hachik's page and said to me, "Have you ever noticed that when Hachik travels, he eats really well?" You see, I've noticed that. And that he's always traveling with unbelievably beautiful women. I said, noticed that too. Hachik is the best person in the world to travel with, but principally because he's not simply one of the smartest people I know. He's not simply one of the most generous of spirit that I know. It's that he really does know everyone. So Hachik and I began in Beirut. And we didn't simply begin in Beirut because I knew we were going to eat very well. We began in Beirut because while I was not going to get to Deir Zor on this trip, I was going to get to Antilles. I was going to get to the Genocide Memorial Chapel, where I'm sure many of you have been, where you can walk in and stand before the three walls of windows that contain but a homeopathic fragment of skulls and bones pulled from the sands of Deir Zor. It was important for me to travel up the coast to Jabal to see the Bird's Nest orphanage. The Bird's Nest was one of the many orphanages that sprung up in the wake of the genocide. This one started by Danish missionary Maria Jacobsen. It's called the Bird's Nest because early into her tenure there she saw a photograph of herself giving candy to the children, still skeletal from their deprivations in the desert. And she remarked, "Look at them. Look at me. They look like baby birds and I look like a mama bird." The name stuck. And it was important for me to make my first trip to Armenia, to the nation state, to stand in Yerevan and see the geography of the Armenian soul, Mount Ararat. There are actually two mountains, in my opinion, that comprise the geography of the Armenian soul. There's Ararat and there's Musadal, Musaleh. More on that in a moment. But it was important to make my first pilgrimage to the Genocide Memorial and to stand before the eternal flame and to lay flowers in memory of our ancestors and my ancestors. To light candles for the Shadinians in places such as Geghard. And, of course, to make a pilgrimage to the statue of your own William Saroyan. And while I may not be able to write as well as Saroyan, I can't tell you how great it was to see that I have his hairline. The mustache will be next. It was important to see the fountains dance in Republic Square and to stand at this corner of Bohjalian and Adam. Bohjalian, first-rate modern Armenian novelist, and Adam, that's my father's name. Now, I mentioned there was a second mountain, in my opinion, that comprises the geography of the Armenian soul, and that is Musa Dagh. Most of us in this room know the story. For those who might not, here's the Reader's Digest condensed version. It is July 1915. The Turkish gendarmes descend upon the mountain of Musa Dagh with its 6 Armenian villages. Musa Dagh is a mountain in the southeastern corner of what is now Turkey on the Mediterranean Sea. And they demand that the Armenians assemble in their town centers and their villages for, quote-unquote, resettlement. By this time, many Armenians know that resettlement is a euphemism for annihilation. And so rather than assemble, they go to the top of the mountain with their hunting rifles. And the first time the Turkish army tries to dislodge them, they underestimate the Armenians and are not merely repulsed. The Armenians commandeer 3 German-produced Krupp howitzers and proceed to hold off the Turkish army for 53 days. At the end of 53 days, the situation is dire. The Armenians are out of food, almost out of ammunition. The Armenian women have sewn a big Red Cross distress flag and hung it over the Mediterranean Sea side of the mountain, hoping that a passing French or British vessel will see it. And sure enough, a French battleship does send some boats ashore, learns there are 4,000 Armenians on the mountain. And the admiral says, let me cable Paris to find out what Paris wants me to do. But while we're waiting, let me show the Turkish army what a French dreadnought can do. And he proceeds to shell the Turkish side of the mountain, buying the time that he needs for essentially the 3-word answered prayer. Rescue the Armenians. And so he does. And years after the war, the Armenians will be resettled on a strip of land on what is now the Lebanese-Syrian border, Anjar. And it was important for me to get to Anjar, because among the books that my mother was giving me when I was a boy and a teenager, in addition to My Name is Aram, in addition to Passage to Ararat, of course, was the 40 Days of Musa Dagh. So we traveled to Anjar so I could see the monument, not merely a cross, but a sword. So I could see the church altar paintings in the church in Anjar. There are not a lot of churches in this world where battleships are appropriate among the altar paintings. But they are in Anjar, because never has a battleship been such an answered prayer. And because I was traveling with Hachik, one of the priests of the community brought us into the storeroom, where we could see the relics from the mountain. You could see some of the rifles, the Red Cross flag, and the canisters that once held the ashes of the martyrs of Musa Dagh, the men who died defending their home. When we were done, we went back into the community room, where in 1990, the Anjaris painted a mural to commemorate the 75th anniversary of Musa Dagh. And there are a number of images from the mural that will stay with me forever. There is this one, and there is one more. But before I show you that second image, I want to digress for a moment, because today is the start of the paperback, which means that the hardcover has been out for a little while. And I want to share with you a story about the hardcover. When I was writing this book, I had a lot of people telling me that I had lost my mind. This book was going to be an unbelievable commercial disaster. No one was ever going to read it. They were mistaken. And they were mistaken to begin with because of some organizations, including the AGPU and the ANCA. The ANCA, the AGPU, got behind this book from the day it was published with wonderful events in 3 time zones. As a result, not merely were Armenian Americans reading this book, but in the first week, I was doing events in parts of the country that couldn't find Aleppo or Armenia on a map before 200 and 300 people, including places such as Hilton Head, North Carolina, where 300 people on the daybook's 4th day in existence came to hear this part of our story. Moreover, book groups, which historically wait for the paperback, were reading the book in hardcover in its first weeks and sending me their photographs and telling me how much the book had meant to them. And if you go back in time and scroll down my Facebook page, you will see the following. And by now there must be 1,000 of them, maybe more. Comments and photographs just like this. I never learned of the Armenian genocide in school. If our children do not learn this story, my fear is that history will keep repeating itself. When I read The Sandcastle Girls, I thought of my high school friend, Lynn Abedisian, whose grandparents must have survived the genocide. I had no idea. Just put down The Sandcastle Girls, moving, and I didn't want it to end. I found myself looking at the globe and looking up information on the internet as I read along. Fascinating, moving, disturbing. Now continuing research on the genocide that I knew nothing about. Thank you for shining a light on a horrific but important historical event. And people started posting photographs from around the world of where they were reading it. Norway, Germany, Armenia, historic Armenia, Afghanistan, Canada. Already the foreign rights have been sold in over a dozen countries, including the United Kingdom, Italy, France, Israel, Brazil, Armenia, Russia. This is the cover of the United Kingdom edition. I really like it. It's kind of Downton Abbey meets the English patient. Now, I mentioned there was a second part of the mural in Anjar. And this is the image. It's a mountain, Musadat. It also looks a bit like Ararat. And those of you who read Armenian will read that the block says, "Let them come again. We are still the mountain. Let them come again. We are still the mountain." The first half is a warrior's rallying cry. Let them come again. The second part is a conscious or an unconscious reference to the diaspora, to the fact that there are roughly 10 million Armenians in this world. Not quite 3 million in the nation state. The rest of us, we live in Fresno, Los Angeles, Beirut, Boston, Paris, halfway up Vermont's 3rd highest mountain, in a village of not quite 1,000 people. But it doesn't matter. Despite the diaspora, we still have our churches. We still have our schools, our stories, our soul. We are still the mountain. On my last morning, on my first visit to Armenia, I had great weather, but I had never seen the summit of Ararat. One of the gentlemen I met in Anjar on my second visit there said to me that Ararat, she's a shy mountain. 17,000 feet high, it had always been covered by clouds. But on my last morning there, took a cab to the airport, checked in at Air France Gate 6, a gate that many of you I know. And as I was looking out the window, before my very eyes, the clouds parted, and I stood at the gate, and I took this photograph. There she was. And suddenly, I was weeping. And my wife can tell you, I do not weep easily. I have the emotional depth of a mollusk. But I was weeping. I was weeping for the 1.5 million who were dead. I was weeping for my own ancestors. I was weeping because I'd finished the Sandcastle Girls and I was no longer going to be spending my mornings with Navarro, Hatun, Otterman, and Elizabeth. I was weeping because I had finished the Sandcastle Girls, the book that I knew in my heart was the most important book I was ever going to write. Thank you very, very much.